Welcome again to another oral history interview in our series of oral history interviews that we're calling Ozarks Voices. My name is Tom Peters. I'm the Dean of Libraries at Missouri State University in Springfield, Missouri. Today's date is Thursday, October 8th of 2015, and our special guest today is Georgiana Grant, who is the daughter of Buster Fellows, was his performance name. Georgiana, welcome.
Thank you.
Your father's given name was Audie Linden Fellows, correct?
Yes.
But he went by Buster, was his sort of his stage name, if you will. Okay. Where was he born?
Polk, Missouri, Polk County.
Polk County.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And do you know what year he was born?
Yes, 1910.
Okay.
1910.
Tell us a little bit about his life. You know, did he grow up in Polk County, Missouri?
Grew up in Polk County. Lived there a good part of his life, and then went to work in Pittsburgh, Kansas for KOAM radio station.
Okay.
For a number of years. And
as a young man?
Young man. He was married, though, at the time.
Uh-huh.
And then they moved, like I said, I'm not sure of the year, to Springfield. Mm-hmm. And went to work for KWTO radio station.
And what was he doing? Was he...
he did, they had a program. He had a program with, I can't remember the name of it right off, with George Rhodes. He and George Rhodes had a program. Mm-hmm. And he did that at KWTO. That's the thing I remember.
Okay.
Sorry, I can't remember. I was a little girl.
And when were you born?
1942.
Here in Springfield?
Well, I was actually born in Polk, Missouri, but
okay.
lived here all my life, you might say.
Okay. And who did your father marry? Who was your mother?
Mildred. She was Cowden, Mildred Cowden. Okay.
And they were married. Do you remember the year they were married?
Sorry, I can't.
That's all right.
That's all right. Remember.
That's all right. So when did he learn to? When did he become a musician? And how was it? An early age? Or?
His whole family was musical. He had, I think there were 8 children altogether. Mm-hmm. They were all musically inclined. Mm-hmm. And he just picked it up by ear. Never had a lesson in his life.
Really? Mm-hmm. Loved to play?
Yeah, oh yes. Oh
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And it was the fiddle he played. But he could play guitar too, and you know.
But the fiddle was his great love.
Fiddle was his instrument, yes.
Now you have some photographs. Maybe we can, I could hold one up here, as this might be the best one.
No, that's not
him. That's not him. Okay.
Let's see, well, that's him there, but that's may not be the best one.
All right, let's see if I can get this on the screen here.
He's here.
There he is on the left. There he is. Kind of a performance shot.
And this is when he played, I think, on the Ozark Jubilee.
So how did your father get involved in the Ozark Jubilee? He was playing it. He had a show at KWTO.
Probably just, he was fairly well known around this area, and played to different functions, and played with a lot of the groups. Slim Wilson, Speedy Hallworth, and just became known as a good musician. Mm-hmm. That's all I remember.
Okay. Here I'm going to hold up it's page 3C of the Friday, January 4th, 2013 News Leader. And evidently the name of the band he was in at that time was Sugar Thumb?
Well, that doesn't
ring
a bell to me.
Okay, well let's hold this up here.
He played for the Promenaders on the Ozark Jubilee. I do remember that.
He was playing for the Promenaders. Okay, yes. There's that article there. And he also played on Corns a Crackin'. We saw in your box of memorabilia that he was
Yes.
a performer on Corns a Crackin'.
Right. I don't, know what that, I guess that was just a,
Just an earlier
program or
country music variety show, radio show.
I guess that came out of KOAM, Pittsburgh, Kansas, I believe, was it?
I think it was down here.
Was it here?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was down
Sorry,
here.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
That was-
Not sure what radio
was way
stations it
back.
played on, but
Well, here in Springfield, the only one I know was KWTO.
okay.
So,
Now, as a little girl, what are your memories of? Did you ever go see your father play?
oh, at different functions and
Yeah.
activities around in the area, but I don't recall exactly.
You don't have any vivid memories of seeing your father play that you remember?
Just, he was always playing the fiddle, even at home.
Really?
Yes. He'd go off in a room and just entertain himself.
Really?
Yes.
He just loved to play the
Just
fiddle.
Loved to play the fiddle.
Yeah. Now, having a father who's a musician, I'm assuming that he had a lot of late night gigs, as they say.
Yes, yes. He would go different places.
Yeah, so kind of get into that, late night, and you
Yes.
get home late, and
Yes.
you sleep till noon, and
Yes,
then
Some
you
of that.
get ready for the next
right,
performance, wherever it might be.
right.
Yeah.
I do remember that. He played a lot at night, different
Yeah.
places.
Now, before we started the tape, you said that you lived next door. Your family lived next door to the Grahams.
When I was a little girl.
Yeah, tell us about that. We Ozarks actually was part of the Route 66 Oral History Project. We interviewed Elaine Graham Estes
Yes.
last November of 2014. So we've already interviewed her. So tell us about living next door to the Grahams.
They were just wonderful people. We loved being next door to them. Of course, I was small, and I just remember my mom commenting how nice they were, and
Yeah.
lovely people.
Yeah, and where was this in Springfield? What street was it?
It was on Boonville Street.
Boonville, okay. You had houses next door?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Now, you're an only child?
No, I had one sister.
One
she
sister.
passed away in
Okay.
88.
Older sister?
2 years older.
Okay.
Yes.
And I believe Elaine was an only child.
I believe so.
Okay.
I believe so.
All
Yes.
So you'd play together in backyards and kick the
Well-
can and...
Yes. Well, of course, Elaine was quite a bit older than my
Oh, she
sister
was.
and me,
Oh,
so
okay.
we didn't really play with her, but I didn't see a whole lot of them, but just a good neighborly relationship.
Good, nice.
Yes,
Okay.
nice people.
Did you ever eat at Graham's Rib Station?
I don't remember that I did.
Okay.
Probably, but I don't remember.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
That's going way back.
So your father performed on the Ozark Jubilee.
Yes.
Did you ever see him perform on the Jubilee?
I was trying to think of that lately. I surely did. But I don't actually remember the occasion.
So if you were born in
2.
42. So the Jubilee ran from roughly 1955 to 1960. So it would have been from you about 13 till 18 years old. So it would have been your, what we now call middle school and high school years.
Yes.
It was never middle school when I was young. It was always junior high.
Yes.
Yeah. So your junior high and senior high years.
Right.
Did he have a fairly regular, did he perform quite frequently on the Ozark Jubilee?
I believe so. Yes. I believe he did.
Was he a member of the house band, the one that normally played, or?
I just remember he was a regular for the Promenaders.
Okay.
And that's all I remember.
Okay. You don't recall ever, what that was like? Was that the major event in the week in the household when Dad would go off to
Probably.
do the Ozark Jubilee?
I would say so.
Yeah. kind of the week kind of revolved around.
Yes,
leading up to
that was probably the big thing in our lives back then.
How did it affect the household? I mean,
We had just been around his playing different functions all of our lives, so probably didn't make a big change there.
Yeah.
We just kind of expected him to be playing somewhere.
Was it perceived as a special kind of a gig where he's playing on live national television?
The Ozark Jubilee?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was broadcast live.
Right.
I mean, did you have a sense when you were growing up that this was a big deal?
I think so.
Sort of like playing at Carnegie Hall or something.
Kind of, yes. We were proud.
Yeah.
That he was a part of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did they ever tell any stories about, just funny things that happened backstage or production? Live television is live television. Back then it was truly live. There was no, 8-second delay or anything. It was broadcast right out. Yeah.
Oh, I barely recall a few things. Of course, he knew Red Foley well, and Porter Wagoner, and all of the entertainers. They had entertainers, most famous ones from all over the country would come.
Mm-hmm.
I think Brenda Lee, if you remember that name.
Yeah.
I believe she got her start there.
I believe that might have been her first public performance. Was on the Jubilee.
I remember that. I remember him talking about her and what an incredible singer she was.
So he really admired her voice.
I think so, yes.
He knew Porter Wagoner?
Yes, actually, he kind of introduced him to, I think it was KWTO where he first I remember Porter Wagoner stayed at our home one night.
Really?
And because he was from West Plains.
Right.
And I don't know exactly how my dad got acquainted with him, but just through the music, I'm sure.
Uh-huh.
And he came up probably to interview at KWTO, and he stayed in our home that night.
Do you have any memories of that night? Strange man in the spare bedroom or something? Or?
Not especially. Just remember them talking about it.
In later years, they talk about the time that Porter Wagoner stayed.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So he knew Porter before. He basically helped get him onto.
That was my understanding.
The Ozark Jubilee.
That was my memory.
Do you remember how he met Porter, or?
I really don't.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. I think Porter was a meat cutter before he got into the music business.
I might have heard that sometime or another.
Yeah.
I don't know how they met. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, I should show you. I don't think I have it with me, but I have an early episode of the Ozark Jubilee that's been digitized, and Porter sings on it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe your dad's. I'll show it to you here when we're finished, and maybe your dad was one of the musicians that night.
Very well could be.
It was April 16th of 1955 was this particular. So it was an early Ozark Jubilee. It was actually some of the early Ozark Jubilees were done up in Columbia, not here.
Okay.
Most of them were done in the old Jewel Theater, no longer standing.
That's what I remember. I didn't remember that.
Do you remember going to any event in the Jewel Theater? I don't know what all they played in there, and did they have movies in there? Did they show movies, or?
It would be unusual if I hadn't attended.
Yeah.
But I really don't recall.
Okay. Where'd you attend high school?
In Bolivar.
Oh, really?
I lived with my grandmother while I was in high school. Smaller school and all.
Yeah.
And, so that's where I went to school. Graduated there. So.
And then did you come back to Springfield then? Or?
After graduation, I moved back to Springfield.
Married?
I married later.
Uh-huh.
I lived at home until I did marry.
Uh-huh.
And then I married later on.
Uh-huh.
And moved. My husband took me off to Kansas.
Yeah. Whereabouts in Kansas?
El Dorado.
Uh-huh.
And that was his home.
Uh-huh.
And then he took me all around the country. He worked for Texaco Oil.
Oh.
And so we went to Tulsa and then to Houston and back to Shawnee, Kansas when they got transferred. And then when we retired, we came back here and cared for my mom for about 11 and a half years until she passed away.
When did your dad pass away?
What was the year? He was 80. Whatever year that would have been, I can't recall the exact.
So if he was born in 1910, it would have been about 1990.
Yeah, yes,
somewhere
that's
around there.
about right. 90, 91, he passed away.
And your mom outlived him.
Yeah, she was 96 when she passed away.
So she was younger?
Just a year.
Okay.
Yeah, she lived it.
So when you moved back here, was your dad still alive?
Yes.
I'm just trying to do the math here.
Right.
If she was just a year or two younger, you cared for her for 11 years
Yes.
before she died. He must have been alive then when...
Well, actually, when we moved back here permanently, because we came back to visit a lot.
Yeah.
We moved back here permanently in '96, so he would have been gone then.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. So he enjoyed playing on the Jubilee, I assume.
I'm sure he did.
Yeah. Well, what happened in his career after the Jubilee? What did he? This would have been about 1960, 1961.
Can't remember the year that he stopped playing for KWTO. I'm sorry, I don't remember all those dates and things.
So I don't come from a musical family by any stretch of the imagination, but you can play live before a live audience, in-person audience. You could play on the radio. TV was the new medium. Did he ever say that he really loved a particular, he really liked radio, or he really liked those television gigs, or he really preferred just having a in-person audience?
The only thing I do remember was that his, I don't know if you call it ambition or goal, was he wanted to go to the Grand Ole Opry. That was the thing I just remember that in particular.
Did he ever achieve that goal? Did he ever play on the Grand Ole?
He didn't, and I think he was disappointed at that.
Yeah.
He was actually good enough.
Yeah.
But for some reason he didn't get to do that, and he wanted to do that.
Did he ever talk about, during the Jubilee years, there were some people that thought that Springfield might compete with Nashville
Right.
as being the country music capital of the world.
Yes.
Did he ever talk about that? That they, was he, in some ways, he was part of that effort to really build up Springfield as a, and having Red Foley come here from Nashville was a major coup.
I don't recall.
You ever talked about it?
Yes.
Okay. Did he have any stories about Red?
Just, I think he liked him, but I don't remember a particular story.
Did he ever mention some of the producers and sort of behind the scenes management, like Cy Simon? Or?
Heard those names.
So you recognize the names, but
I don't remember any particulars about it. See, I really was living with my grandmother for part of that time.
Yeah.
So I probably missed out on some of those conversations.
Some of the stories and things,
yes.
Yeah. So he just loved to play. He would just pick up the fiddle at home.
Yes, he probably picked some of it up from some of his family members, uncle or grandfather, or somebody in the family. But he never had a lesson in his life, and just picked it up. My son, kind of the same way, plays by ear, and just always loved it.
Yeah.
And my dad's brothers played and played.
Did they play in bands too?
Probably. I had a picture of them here somewhere. Yeah, they played around, but let's see, there's
Okay. Young Porter Wagoner.
I had some pictures of my dad in his.
There's a photo of a young Porter Wagner.
Should just all kinds of pictures here. He played, I don't know if you've heard of Carl and Mary Jane Hayden. They were kind of big names at the time.
Is that a
Played
photograph of
with
the three of them?
And here's another picture.
There's this photograph here.
This, I don't know that group. You see, somebody didn't write all the information on the back, just the names, but that's some group he was in.
Could this have been the Promenaders?
Well, let's see. Is it women and men? It could be.
Now,
Wish they had
which
written.
one is Buster?
Right there, the
Okay.
tall one.
Okay.
He was quite tall.
And that's Porter there on the left, isn't it?
So.
Okay, here's this photograph we're looking at, and Porter Wagner's on the left, and Buster is the third person from the left, tall in the back row. We think this may be a photo of the Promenaders.
Let's see, and there's this. Came in it's an oldie. It's not that old, 98, but that was a story in the paper and this is my dad right there.
Okay, so this is May 3rd, 1998, the Sunday edition of the News Leader. In the Life and Times section, there's an article about the Ozark Jubilee with a photo of Buster and his fellow band members.
And here's this Carl Hayden I was telling you about. It's a little bit of information there. And it does say somebody highlighted that back then. Could be my folks.
Okay. So this is the obituary for Carl Hayden. And it's Thursday, February 28th, 1974. Leader Press. He died at age 64. And it says in his obituary, after a brief stint with the Grand Ole Opry, Carl formed a partnership with Buster Fellows, performing in Kansas City and Topeka.
And this is another one with the Haydens, and I don't know where that was taken, but.
Okay, another publicity shot. See if I can get that to focus.
And I think, yeah, you already saw that one. That's when he played for Promenaders. Let's see, this is when he played KMA Radio. I've got pages listed there.
So did you keep all of these articles, and how did you come by these?
These were just things that I found when my mom passed away that she had kept and the family had kept, and I just tried to put them all together.
Yeah.
Of pictures and memorabilia and things. Like I said, this is his, I don't know what's on those pages, but apparently I found something about my dad on those pages.
So this is a history of KMA Radio, the first 60 years, written by Robert Birkby, B-I-R-K-B-Y, KMA 960, published by 1985 by the May Broadcasting Company of Shenandoah, Iowa. And let's see.
Oh, here's something else that might interest you.
Okay.
I don't know if you've heard of the Cornfield Follies Gang, but anyway, that was something he was connected to.
Okay, here's a photo of the Cornfield Follies Gang, and the Below are left to right, Dale Parker, Buster Fellows, Goo Goo Rutledge, Bill Ring, Jack Crandall, and Chuck Bowers. Left to right. So Buster is the second from the left there. Tall, thin fellow. The Cornfield Follies Gang. No date.
Here's a picture of my dad when he was very young. I don't know when that was taken, but he certainly looked young.
There's a very old photograph of Buster. He looks like he's in his early 20s. And they're wearing Western garb.
This is an old recording.
Oh boy.
I don't know if that would even play.
What I'm holding up now is a true tone recording. Metal bass, slow burning. Title is Happy Cowboy by Smokey Buster. July 19th of 1941, so he would have been about 20, 21 years old. No, I'm sorry, he was born in 1910, so he would have been in his early 30s when this platter was cut.
Let's see.
On the flip side is I'll Be a Friend, it looks like, is the title of the track.
I wish they had put names on these. This is somebody he played with. Had to be my dad, but I don't know.
Okay.
This is-
In this photograph, Buster's on the right. The other performer on the left is unknown.
And this was, well, let's see, Junior Hallworth, and that's my dad. And I don't know exactly where that was either.
Okay, here's a Buster's the person on the right.
And there's some more. Just pictures there. You can pick out my dad, and that's in there too. Let's see.
So here's a photograph, it says at the bottom, Corn's a Crackin', a Radio Ozark production, Ozark's famous 4 fiddles, and Buster is second from left.
Oh, this is something that they said received from Mr. McCann, Gordon McCann.
Gordon McCann.
Sent copies of Dad's obituary to us.
Oh,
And to my mom. And a little note there. He's sure nice.
we have the
fellow.
Gordon McCann collection of audio recordings that he made of various
Oh yes.
jam sections
He's
around.
done
the
a lot of those things,
Yeah.
hasn't he? I think that's the same picture that we've already seen.
Yeah.
And this one too. We already saw that one.
Here's a photograph from the newspaper. That's Buster on the fiddle on the left, the Promenaders in the background, and L.D. Keller on the right holding the microphone.
And this was taken in Pittsburgh, Kansas, so some of the group he performed with, I'm sure, but it says it's in Pittsburgh, Kansas, and he's there.
In the back. Yep. Okay. Here's a photograph from Pittsburgh, Kansas, no date. Group of musicians and perhaps singers. And Buster is the fourth from the right in the back.
Here's the KWTO Dial that they put out every, I don't know if it was
Month?
monthly,
I think it
and
was a
that's
monthly
him on the
probably.
front there. Not a very flattering picture of it.
What's he chewing on there?
I don't know.
I'll show this.
I wish I had gone through these dials. He's probably in some of these. And For some reason, he isn't in this one. But
Okay, so this is the KWTO Dial for May of 1949, and there is Buster on the cover of the KWTO Dial. Keep watching the Ozarks. I'm not sure what he has in his mouth, some sort of a green.
toothpick or something, I
Yeah.
guess. And one of these dials, they always featured a family, one of the families.
Oh.
Can't seem to run across it, but the picture on the wall is from that dial.
Of your family.
That's my family there. So that was kind of enlarged and from that dial. I can't find that particular dial.
It says here February of 1951.
Okay. Yes, it is. Right here. Just ran when you said that date, I found it. It's that's the February, and
Okay.
that was that.
So here's the cover of the February 1951 KWTO Dial, 10 cents. And then on page 19 is this family portrait of the Fellows family.
And here's the Springfield magazine back in. The date's covered up, but it's probably underneath there. Let's see. There shows him. And I think that's the only one with
Okay.
him in there. But
Okay.
is that covered up the date?
It's just a piece
Oh,
that
that's
was just on
something.
there. So,
Okay.
so this is the June 1993 issue of Springfield Magazine. And there's an article about the Ozark Jubilee Saga by Rita Spears Stewart, Part 2. And on page 38, we have this photograph.
Oh, and here's kind of called it the spotlight. This was the dial, something or other, and they did a whole section about he and his
Oh, yeah.
partner there.
So this is Smokey and Buster. And this again is 1941, August 15th.
This is, oh yeah.
And the issue says they were chosen for the first issue spotlight by a station-wide draft lottery. So here's a couple of lottery winners from different kind of lottery from 1941. And that's Buster on the right.
Oh. Okay, this is a little brochure of Smokey and Buster, and it has, let's see here. That's my mom and dad. That's probably their wedding picture, I would say. And my sister, when she was very small. She was born in Shenandoah, Iowa. And that is the other fellow, Smokey, and his wife and child.
Their son.
And this
All right,
is-
let's see here if I can get this. So here's Buster and his bride, probably on their wedding day. And there is Connie Jo, Georgiana's older sister, now deceased.
I probably wasn't born then.
Yeah. And then here is a publicity photo of Buster on the left and Smokey on the right. So it says here in the notes that he was 2.5 inches tall, 6 feet 2.5 inches, and weighed 160 pounds, dripping wet.
He was quite slender.
His father was Frank Fellows.
Yes.
Says here, his father, Frank Fellows of near Bolivar, Missouri, used to holler, "Audie Linden, Fellows, put up that fiddle and come throw down some hay for these horses." So it was in 1934 that Buster managed to talk a very lovely girl from Polk County, Missouri, Mildred Cowden, into marrying him. And they went into farming. Did they farm for a while?
I know they both grew up on farms, and that I'm sure that's true. I'm sure that's true. Of course, I wasn't.
It says here,
wasn't
well,
around then.
they married in 1934. In 1935, Buster made a guest appearance on the radio, and the cards and letters that rolled in made him decide that radio was the life for him. So he started to do regular broadcasts on station KWTO in Springfield, Missouri. Soon a better job was offered in Kansas City, Missouri, and the listeners of WLBF
Oh, I'd forgotten that one.
heard Buster's music and songs for a long time. He has since been featured on other stations, including WIBW in Topeka, Kansas, KMNA, and KFNF of Shenandoah, Iowa. So the KMNA was the Shenandoah, Iowa one.
Mm-hmm.
And Buster is now very popular with KOAM listeners.
That was the one I remembered, but then I remembered Shenandoah.
That's the one out in Kansas. Okay.
Okay.
So this was a series of postcards that Smokey and Buster did when they were out in Pittsburgh, Kansas, performing for KOAM.
Okay.
You say your son's a musician as well?
He can play.
Uh-huh.
He plays piano and other instruments, but he doesn't have time to really.
He doesn't perform
He doesn't
professionally.
perform.
Yeah.
But he could if he wanted to or had time.
Did any of other Buster's siblings become professional musicians?
Oh, as far as professional, I know they all played. They were all
Mhm.
musical.
Mm-hmm.
Not really. They were never known.
Do you remember any family reunions where they all get to playing and singing?
Oh,
and
yes.
Yeah?
Various get-togethers. They would all play.
Was that just part of a get-together? Was
Yes.
they ever going to play?
Yes.
Yeah, love to
Always
play.
had to play.
Yeah.
Somehow I remember even way into the wee hours of the morning because I just remember getting tired of it and ready to come home, you know. Yeah, they all loved music, and I guess my son picked that up too. And my son did play for youth groups and children's church, and he was part of a music ministry when we lived in Houston, Texas for a while. But he doesn't do much now. His job keeps him too busy.
Yeah. Did Buster have to travel much for his musical career? Did he?
He traveled.
How far afield did he go? Did he go to Chicago? Did he go to
He did.
Little Rock?
I think one time he did go to Chicago.
Ever go to New York or L.A.? Or?
I don't remember that. I think I do remember Chicago.
Uh-huh.
I don't remember the other places.
Yeah. And he just had different bands over the years. Smokey and Buster was the first one, it sounds
Smokey
like.
and Buster and the Haydens, that was a big one.
Yeah.
And
Did he ever form a band, do you know?
no, he was just part of the musical part.
He was
But he did sing some too.
Really?
He sang with George Rhodes
Uh-huh.
on the radio station. They had a program. I don't remember what it was called. maybe the George investor. I don't remember.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right. Any other stories you want to share with us? And
Just that
Sounds
I
like
remember growing up with lots of music, lots of fiddle playing, lots of music. And
well, we've been speaking with Georgiana Grant, who is the daughter of one of two daughters of Audie Linden Fellows, better known as Buster Fellows, who, among other things, played on the Ozarks Jubilee.
yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It was nice.
My privilege.